I got to thinking today, what about Qualia? Qualia is like, let's say blue. I can see the sky, and the sky is blue, and blue might be peaceful to some. For others, it might be depressing. For others, it might be, the smell of their grandma, the color of the ocean. It might mean peace. It might mean salt, because somebody might associate the color blue with the salty smell of the ocean or something. So Qualia is each individual's way of describing certain experiences, and that's very unique, to each individual. So I got to thinking about, what if death is just Qualia, like our being, our essence, our energy is eternal. It goes on infinity, which is where people have like past life experiences. The Qualia of death, near-death experiences. Some people might, smell flowers and see angelic things. Others might smell, metal and see, aliens standing over them. If you ever read near-death experiences, there's a lot of really unique ones. But, some people see just their relatives, and the relatives are, saying they love you and stuff like that, and just let go. So each one of these Qualia, these ways of experiencing dying, what if that's all that death is? It's just in this life, the cessation of this life, whenever I get to be old and I'm dying, my experience in this life that I call death is a quail, numerous Qualia, numerous ways of experiencing that. And that, I think I'm using these words correctly, please don't quote me wrong on this, or don't misinterpret me, I should say. The way I experience that is just cessation of life, this part of life. But then, you wake up someplace else, so your Qualia associated with death is just experiencing the cessation of life in one reality, which then you wake up and go, someplace else potentially. And, since, what is it? Is it the second law or the first law? One of the laws of thermodynamics, energy cannot be created or destroyed or whatever. It just goes on to take new forms. Don't quote me on that, though. I'm not like a huge science person. I know a little bit, but I don't want to be misinterpreted. But Qualia, if that's all death is, it's just an experience of death. The experience of that, the quails, the Qualia. And from that, then we go someplace else. So there really is no such thing as death. Like, everything's just arising from a field of consciousness. The color blue arises different for different people experiencing, life in a different way. The color blue for my neighbor might be they'll experience that very different than I do, because, that's the way that they experience things. It's almost like this field of consciousness is a creator, which doesn't have a gender, doesn't have a religious affiliation, a political affiliation. That thing then is helping to create us, and then watching its creation, creating it back as it learns from its creation. It's almost like everything is this giant brain that's thinking about stuff. And it's like, you ever make a bed or make food or exercise, and then you realize when you think about it more, you want to do it better. It's like, what's the biblical story? The flood, like the Epic of Gilgamesh. Some of these stories we see throughout myths, legends, tales, they get, reinterpreted. And it's like, what if that was just somebody having the experience of wanting to kill off an old part of what they had created? And on this ark, this new thought, the ark, the mind, the brain, the life, the life, the waters come in, the waters, the deep, the unconscious. From that, something new, we take what we want to save, we put on the ark, life, and then from that we land on something new, a new thought, a new plane of consciousness, and then we live again, we thrive again, we grow again, and we repopulate the world. We bring life to a new world, new thoughts, new states of consciousness. The old us is dead. We see the same narrative with the Christ, on the cross. The crossroads, two beams crossed. Some people say it was on a stick, but the point is this, you get the point. There's a crossroads there, a change, death into life, being reborn. So it's like, what if that's all that life is just all these mysteries, these things are kind of telling us that, it's like they're saying the same thing just through a different lens. So I think that's what potentially death is. So don't fear death. It's just one way of experiencing the ending of a part of our infinite life, our eternal life, I should say.